News.mc on Monaco Info is brought to you by Monaco Legend Properties. Our exclusive interview with the personalities making the Principality.
My name is Isabell Kristensen. I was born in Copenhagen and I moved to London when I was 18, and I decided to study fashion because I was good at two things, really good at two things. One was languages and one was fashion, and I had worked as a model since the age of 11 but was always more interested in the actual clothes. So it's not very Danish to become a designer, or it wasn't. Now it's very fashionable, but then it wasn't very fashionable. And when I told my parents that I actually wanted to become a fashion designer, my mom said to me, yes, okay, you can do that, but then you need to take a proper education afterwards. And here we are, 30-something years later. I took a course at St. Martin's School of Art. I then entered a design competition and I won it. And it was for menswear, not for ladies, because I was very interested in tailoring. I love a man's suit because it's so intricate. There's so many things you need to put inside a man's jacket to make it look beautiful. I also was always very interested in corsetry. I love corsets, how they were in the old days, made out of whale bones, and that you could get your waist into this hourglass shape, which I love. But it was actually for menswear, and I did menswear for 6 months, and then I decided that it was more fun to dress women because you have a bigger choice. And then I changed to doing ladies. I didn't really know that I wanted to become a designer, like I said, because it's not very Danish. It wasn't a Danish job that you would sort of do. But some of the highlights in my childhood was watching my mom going with my dad to different parties and balls, because when she was getting ready, she had the most beautiful gowns. And it always stuck in my mind that, oh my gosh, when I grow up, I want to have these gowns, want to wear these gowns. She was a great inspiration, and she's very different to me. She was very natural, didn't ever wear makeup, but always liked very beautiful clothes. And she could also make it. And when I was 5 years old, she wanted to put me into dance classes, which I didn't really want. But then she told me, if you do the dance classes, you can have a big pink dress with a huge skirt in tulle and beautiful satin. Then I said, of course, then I'll do it. And that was my first ball gown. And in fact, when I opened my shop in London, I opened it by making this gown in the window. I have sold it many, many, many times since, also in Monaco. I feel very proud when I see someone wearing my clothes, especially if I didn't know it. Because I've been in business now a long time, sometimes I've forgotten some of the dresses I made 20 years ago, and all of a sudden I'll be at a ball in London and somebody's wearing one of the gowns, and it's just amazing. It's wonderful. But it is a lot. I mean, if somebody had said to me, you're going to have a full-time business and 4 children, I would have said to them, you must be mad. It just kind of happened. It's a compliment when somebody believes that you could possibly guide them. You have to try, because at the end of the day, the client must be comfortable in what they choose. It can't be that I say, oh, but you should wear pink because pink is my favorite color. It should be that you listen to the client. And for me, I always try to advise, because especially as a woman, I know from myself that you get very set in your ways. You have your hair the same way for maybe 20 years. Then you use the same lipstick for maybe 20 years. And then all of a sudden it runs out and you can't get it anywhere and you panic. Oh no, I can't get the color. But after 20 years, it would be better if you changed your color, because your coloring has changed. And it's a bit the same with dresses. And I have made it my specialty over the years, which is why I love the corsetry. You can build so many things into a dress. You can get the body you want with help from the cut of the dress and with some boning and with cups. And it's all about confidence, because if you feel wonderful when you put that gown on, and you see that when people try on a gown and you've advised them, please try this one on, I think it would be really good on your body. And the client puts it on and looks in the mirror and you see the expression, then you know you're onto a good thing. And I think it's all really about the confidence, because if you feel wonderful as a woman, you walk into a room and you have a great time and you don't think about anything. And I always think, if you have a party, you should be able to eat, you should be able to have a glass of champagne, you should be able to dance, you should be able to have fun, because this kind of clothes is all about having fun. I love Chloe, I love Tom Ford. If I go further back, I love Roberto Capucci, which made very sculptured gowns, beautiful, pleated. And I love art. I like many artists, and I use a lot of the colors in my collection, which are inspired by artists. And I've dressed many different people for over 25 years, and some of the iconic looks that we will be showing on the anniversary, for example, one of them is a man, and it's the artist Prince. I did a lot of clothes for him. I traveled with him on tours. One of the most famous things that I did for him will be on display that night. And there are many funny stories with each one. Some of the other ones, for example, I dressed a female, Katy Perry, Nicole Kidman. Paris Hilton I've dressed for her TV program and for events. And Dame Shirley Bassey has been my client for over 30 years. In fact, she came to me as the very first client in my shop in London when I had only been opened 4 days. And she's still my client today. There's a lot of plans in the development, and 2 years ago we started doing ready-to-wear wedding dresses. We are showing in New York Fashion Week twice a year, in April and in October, and this will be the bridal line that we are selling now. I think the boutiques will always be like they are now for the couture, because it's my baby. I can't give it up, I think, until the day I stop, because I love making this kind of dresses that you make one time and there are no limits of how many beads, or you don't have to think about cutting corners. So I really, really love making those dresses, and I love when people get excited about it. And I think it's very important not to lose the craftsmanship. Here in Monaco, I've had the same beader who does all the beading. I make a sketch and then she beads it on a big frame by hand, and she's 85 years old now. She's worked for me for 25 years, and she makes the most incredible things, and I don't want this kind of things to die. I want them to continue. I know it's much cheaper to send it to India and to China and have it made, but it's not the same. Here it's like we make it one time and then we can make something similar again, but you can never make exactly the same, and it's just wonderful to have this kind of skills. And I love when we get students and we also get to explain it to them, because then the craft isn't dying. And everyone knows that if you want to do this kind of thing, you need to go to Paris or Milan or London. But I think it's nice that you can do it in Monaco. And my dream is to eventually have a school here where we can teach all our skills and designs to a new generation. I'm very fortunate so far that both my son, out of my 4 children, both my son and my youngest daughter are working with me, and they want to continue. It was my dream when I started it, and you always think, oh, it would be lovely if your children carry it on. But it also depends on their dream, what they want to do. So it's just an extra bonus, an extra plus when they say to me, oh, I would really like to continue, because I always chose this job. I didn't like the idea of retiring when I came to the age of 60. I thought, but what if you love your job? Then it's terrible that you have to stop when you're 60 if you don't feel like it. Coco Chanel was a great inspiration to me, because she was 83, I think, and she was still doing her last collection. And the day she died, she was working in her atelier. She went out for dinner in Paris. Then she went home and passed away in her sleep. And I thought to myself always, wow, if I have to go, that would be a nice way to do it. First working in my atelier, having a nice dinner in Monaco, and then sleeping away. I have my fashion show on the 17th and 18th of July in the Yacht Club. I also have the 25th anniversary, which is a milestone, and which I will be celebrating in October. And it will be a 3-day event. And we will have fashion shows, we will have gala dinners, we'll have 25 years of the most iconic looks of each year on display. So it will bring a lot of memories out. And then, of course, now is the season. I will be going to Ascot in London, which I go every year. There's always something. I'll be going to New York for the bridal in April, and then again in October. So there is something all year round. The first time I met Charlene was actually when I had my fashion show in Amber Lounge. She was introduced to me and she was wearing a purple dress, a hand-painted purple dress, beautiful dress. I said to her, I really like your dress, because it was from my shop. And so she said, yeah, I picked it earlier, and then burst out laughing. So it was kind of a very nice way to meet her the first time, and it was great to do my fashion show where she sat with Prince Albert in the first row, and she was wearing this beautiful dress and she looked amazing, like she always does. And then I was also had the great honor to be the maid of honor at their wedding. Probably one of the most amazing experiences. Well, it must be the most amazing experience I've had in my career. I did many gowns for the wedding of the guests. Princess Charlene was wearing a Mani. I made my own gown, which she asked me to do, to be the maid of honor. So that was a lot of dresses, yes. I also made a very special dress for Princess Charlene for the WWF charity ball in Monaco. We've gone to it different places around the world, but when it came to Monaco, I thought as she was going, she should be wearing this beautiful dress with a beaded panda on it. And so I sketched it for her, and she looked at it and she was like, I'm not sure. I'll take it back and think about it. And then the next day she came and said, yes, I want to wear it. So I started making it, and the panda bear is made, it's about this big and made with tiny little beads, and it took about 2.5 months just to bead the panda bear, and it's 3-dimensional, and she wore it for the WWF, and it was a great success. It was a lot of fun. My first impression of Monaco was it's beautiful. I like the fact that it's small. It's true, living in London is very, very different. And coming into my shop in Beecham Place in London is like a train station. There's so many people coming in the foot traffic outside and coming in and out all day long. Here it's nice and quiet. I find it very inspirational to look at the sea and the mountains. And I love walking. So for me, I walk everywhere in Monaco, and it's I felt at home. That's probably the best way to say it. I've traveled all my life with my parents, but when I came to Monaco, I felt this kind of peace, like at home, like you feel when you feel at home somewhere. I love it here, and it's funny because many people said to me, but how can you live in such a small place? But I never ever thought about that. I have my 4 children, I go to work, I worked since the first day I moved here. I had my boutique, and now this year it's my 25th anniversary in Monaco. So I'm celebrating it in October. I think it was the combination, because I saw different places, and what I was looking for was to have an atelier, because everything is made in Monaco. So I needed a place for my seamstresses and pattern cutters and hand finishers to finish every item. I also needed 3 big windows to display the gowns. The shop on the Rocher is big. It has a private room downstairs, which is for weddings and VIPs, so nobody can see when you're being fitted. Then it has a big space upstairs, and then it has a great big atelier where we make everything. That is my favorite place, because the atelier is like Aladdin's cave. I think the uniqueness of being able, especially different times of the year, that you are able to be on the beach in Monaco, and then you can take your car and drive 1 hour up, and you can be skiing with your family, and then you can drive down again in the evening and go for dinner. This I find wonderful. I love also that you can drive to Italy within 20 minutes. And I like the fact that there is a lot of different nationalities, so you always meet interesting people. Some people stay not so long, and some people stay, like myself, for 25 years or more. And I have got some really, really good friends here, which I probably wouldn't have met if I hadn't come to Monaco. The future of Monaco is very good, because I think it's very with the times. There are lots of events now, there are lots of young people. It's what I said earlier, it's become very international, where 25 years ago it was more people who had retired. But now there are a lot of young professionals that are here, and there are loads of professional women who work as well in all kinds of jobs, and I really love that. And I think it's very important to be a good inspiration for all the young generation that are here, that they study here and abroad, but also that they come back and feel that they can still live in Monaco and have a job, and they don't leave Monaco, because 3 of my children live abroad. My eldest live in Palm Beach, 2 of my other children lives in London, and only my youngest daughter is here now. And I am doing what I can to keep her here so she doesn't move away. To do the tour, as well as visiting my parents on a regular basis, because now they are too old, they can't travel. It's a lot of traveling. Some of the best work, my best inspiration has come in the time that I lived in Monaco, because I had the peace of mind. Take in the beauty of the mountains, the sea, and use it. And I love when you dive. You know, we've done photo shoot in dresses under the water. I have used many things from the sea as my inspiration. I love anything from an octopus to a seahorse to under the sea. It's so beautiful. Over the sea it's gorgeous, but when you go under it's even more amazing. I think for me It was the best form of inspiration, and I think it's a great advantage to say that you are based in Monaco, because Monaco is known all over the world. It's small, but it's known for many things, and it's nice to be part of it.
That's all for today. Thank you for watching News.mc, your English rendezvous on Monaco Info. Discover more interviews and stories on our websites, news.mc and monacoinfo.com. This show was brought to you by Monaco Legend Properties.